Airports have always been silent witnesses to countless stories, painful goodbyes, unexpected reunions, and sometimes moments that spark a surge of hope. But that day, at Beijing Capital International Airport, it wasn't just fans who held their breath. Hidden cameras, paparazzi lenses, and the ever-watchful eyes of netizens caught a scene that immediately sent shockwaves through social media. Zhang Ruonan Bai Jingting were seen together, walking briskly through the crowd, faces partially covered with masks, yet the atmosphere around them was electric, charged with meaning. There was no official statement, no press release from either of their agencies. But it was that very silence that lit the flames of speculation. Why were they returning to Beijing? Why together? What did it mean for their relationship? Or perhaps more significantly, for their careers and carefully crafted public personas as top-tier Chinese celebrities who have long mastered the art of keeping their personal lives out of the public eye. Zhang Ruonan looked effortlessly elegant in an oversized pastel jacket and a bucket hat that nearly concealed her face. Yet her body language, the way she occasionally glanced over at Bai Jingting, the way her hand moved quickly to adjust her mask when cameras approached, betrayed a subtle nervousness, a quiet vulnerability that only surfaces when someone important is close by. Bai Jingting, on the other hand, appeared as he often does, calm, laid back, a little aloof in a black hoodie and joggers. But his eyes told a different story. His gaze constantly flickered toward Zhang Ruonan, as if to make sure she wasn't left behind, as if to check that everything was okay. There was no physical contact, no hug, but it was that precise distance, those few deliberate steps between them, that made everything feel more intense. They weren't hiding the fact that they were together, but neither were they broadcasting it. It was the perfect mystery, irresistible to gossip enthusiasts and celebrity romance watchers alike. Netizens were instantly divided. Some cheered, thrilled by the possibility that this on-screen couple had finally blossomed into a real-life romance. Others remained skeptical, wondering if it was just another strategic publicity move, especially with both actors currently on hiatus between major projects. But what truly reignited the buzz was how this moment seemed to resurrect rumors that had never fully died out. Remember when they first acted together? Their chemistry was too perfect to be just acting. The way they looked at each other, too soft. Their gestures, too natural. Their laughter, too genuine. At the time, many believed it was all just promotion. But after the drama ended, they kept mentioning each other in interviews. Dropping emojis in each other's comment sections. Posting photos that, somehow, always seemed to align. The same landscapes, the same hues in the sky, sometimes even at the same time of day. And now, appearing at the airport together. Not at a filming location, not at a public event, but at a place that signifies coming home. What had they left behind before this? And more intriguingly, what were they bringing back with them? Industry insiders have whispered that the two had just returned from a private trip to South Korea, although no official documentation exists to support that. Still, a few Weibo detectives, those fans with a knack for forensic-level detail, compared earlier airport photos, matched their suitcases, their shoes, even subtle hairstyle changes. The conclusion? They flew together, likely taking careful measures to avoid the spotlight. And if they were trying to avoid it, then there must be something worth protecting. Some fans even claim to have seen them dining in a small Itaewon restaurant, seated in a quiet corner, speaking softly, sharing dishes. One anonymous diner reported that Bai Jingting looked particularly protective, occasionally moving plates aside to give Zhang Ruonan more space. These small details, perhaps insignificant to most, set hearts ablaze among fans who've long dreamed of real love stories behind the industry's polished surfaces. But what does all this mean for their future? In an industry where a romantic relationship can be both a blessing and a curse, their next move could be the beginning of something beautiful or the start of a media storm. Zhang Ruonan has always been known as a cautious actress, rarely involved in scandals. She's focused on high-quality acting projects and maintained an image of professionalism and independence. Bai Jingting, on the other hand, is seen as a chill, honest soul, someone who doesn't chase the spotlight too aggressively. Together, they strike a rare balance. Not overly glamorous, not overly polished, but somehow, that's what makes them feel more real. As if they're not trying to be the media's ideal couple, but just trying to be the truest versions of themselves. Rumor has it that both their management teams are now deep in discussion. Some insiders suggest letting the speculation grow, using it as a strategic boost to both stars' public image. Others argue for restraint, to keep the focus on their work, not their personal lives. But with public interest now reaching a fever pitch, can they really stay silent? The night they landed, the hashtag Zhang Ruonan Bai Jingting started trending again on Weibo. Fan accounts began re-uploading old interview clips, behind-the-scenes footage, and those shy little moments where they shared inside jokes and subtle glances. Suddenly, everything made sense. Everything that once seemed like just fan service was being re-examined in a new light, more tender, more meaningful, and perhaps more real than anyone had dared to believe. Some fan theories now claim that the pair has actually been dating in secret for over a year, that they've chosen to keep things under wraps to avoid media pressure, or perhaps to protect the authenticity of what they've built. Whatever the truth may be, the closeness we saw that day wasn't a sudden coincidence. It was the result of time, revealed slowly, gently, through quiet gestures, shared silences, and unspoken understanding. So the real question now isn't, are they together? The question is, what will they do next? Will they stay in this gray zone, letting the world guess without ever confirming? Or will they take the bold step of revealing what's been quietly blooming behind the scenes? The entertainment industry is often full of illusions and image games. But if there's one thing that sets Zhang Ruonan and Bai Jingting apart, it's how their silence feels sincere. How even in their absence of words, there's something deeply honest. Maybe this isn't just another summer rumor. Maybe this is the beginning of a new chapter that's been years in the making. And that night in Beijing? It became a silent witness to what might just be the first step of two hearts that have long been in sync, waiting only for the right moment to rise to the surface. Perhaps that moment is now. Perhaps that day was the beginning. And all we can do now is wait for what comes next.